Welcome to the Three Martini Lunch. Grab a stool next to Greg Columbus of Radio America and Jim Geraghty of National Review. Three martinis coming up.
It is Friday, thank the Lord. It has been one of those weeks, and it is the Three Martini Lunch. I'm Chad Benson in for Greg Columbus. National Review's Jim Geraghty, as always, is here. And today, rather than the good, the bad, the crazy, it's just crazy, crazy, crazy. And we start with a little friendship and bipartisanship, with a hug that went awry in the world of social media. Jim, this is why we can't have nice things.
Indeed. Now, in addition to this kind of surprising, seemingly genuine expression of goodwill and respect and appreciation between Lindsey Graham and Dianne Feinstein at the end of the Amy Coney Barrett hearings. Look, this was expected to be, the nomination Ragnarok. This was going to be as big a clash as we've seen. And for those who, were watching yesterday, I don't know if guys were kind of punchy at the end of the week, but you started to see Democratic senators and Republican senators kind of good-naturedly joking around with each other. I think one of my favorite moments was when Cory Booker said that Ted Cruz really isn't such a bad guy. It would kill him in Texas, but he's actually secretly a vegan. And of course, this is, and of course, I think that Cruz retweeted it and said, "This is the harshest, nastiest attack I've ever been subjected to," or something like that. So that you can see these guys who, obviously disagree very, very strongly on the nominee, disagree strongly on issues, but who seem to have at least a certain amount of collegiality and a certain amount of not hating each other, even though they disagree so strongly. And then, it's kind of interesting to see this with Dianne Feinstein praising Lindsey Graham's work as chairman, as Lindsey Graham is heading into what looks like a tough, but not, a tough bid for re-election down in South Carolina. I think he'll pull it off, but it's, pretty darn close. But then the consequence of this is that a progressive group, the Liberal Judicial Action Network, are so mad about this. They want Dianne Feinstein to step down from her position on the committee. Now, it's interesting. Right before this hearings began, there were some Democrats murmuring that Dianne Feinstein, who is getting up there in years, was not the person they wanted leading their side on this, that her best days were behind her, that she wouldn't be up to the job. I'll leave it up to Democrats and critics of Amy Coney Barrett to decide whether they think Feinstein did a good job. But the interesting thing is that out of everything that happened this week, it was the hug with Lindsey Graham that was the last straw. They just cannot abide her anymore. She's got to go. And that's
what's crazy?
I don't know if it'll work, but that's what they're pushing for now.
What's crazy, Jim, is these are two people who are human beings. They're colleagues. They've known each other for quite a long time. And I think she also recognizes that this is probably her last go-around in this, regardless of what took place. But I also think she thinks, well, I'll still probably be, a senator. But Lindsey may not be here, and Lindsey and them probably have shared a few drinks and laughed over stuff over time. And we've taken the humanity. We stopped seeing each other as anything other than red and blue. And that's sad for the entire country.
Yeah, and by the way, when it comes to, the chairman of a committee and ranking member of a committee, things run smoother when they get along. And this doesn't mean you need to have two, high-level figures who necessarily agree with each other. I think the best example I can come up with in recent years of two guys who couldn't stand each other, both in their, official politics and behind the scenes, was Adam Schiff and Devin Nunes. And by the way, they got along fairly well in the House Intelligence Committee early on. And then I guess after Trump's election, it just became too big a division. But a good contrast would be the late Elijah Cummings and Mark Meadows, now the White House Chief of Staff, but previously a member of Congress from North Carolina. They had a very good behind-the-scenes relationship. And I understand, Meadows was genuinely torn up when Cummings succumbed to his health issues. And so that, ideally, look, does this mean they're always going to get along? No. Does this mean you're not going to have a lot of party line votes in your committee? No. But everybody can respect each other, that they're there to do a job, that they're there because they care about the country, and that they are, everybody takes their duties seriously, and they take their responsibilities seriously. And ideally, you got to have something like this. And what we see between Graham and Feinstein, again, I don't think she's any less of a Democrat because she, said nice things about Graham. I don't think Graham's any less of a Republican because he went over and hugged her. without a mask, I notice. But, I'd rather see that than to see people hating each other 24/7, which apparently some vocal group of liberals really wants to see.
Hey guys, it's Mock and Daisy from the Chicks on the Right, and we're excited to tell you about our podcast, the Mock and Daisy Common Sense Cast.
If you've been stressed lately with the information overload on social media or just don't feel like anything in the news makes sense anymore, don't worry, because we're here to clear things up.
Every week, we discuss topics like cancel culture, national crisis, what's happening to our new generations, and if you're just plain tired of people trying to tell you what to do or how to live your life, we tackle that too.
Find out more by going to our website, chicksontheright.com, or start listening on the Apple Podcast app, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to leave a comment or review and subscribe.
Jim Geraghty, my name's Chad Benson. I'm in for Greg Corombos. It is the 3 Martini Lunch, and of course we are enjoying the crazy this week, and there's plenty of crazy. I'm going to play something for you because last night the town hall was there, and Trump, as we know, enjoys himself a good conspiracy, and Savannah Guthrie, who is debating him apparently, also running for president. They got into a little tete-a-tete when it came to conspiracies and bin Laden, and oh my goodness.
You retweeted to your 87 million followers a conspiracy theory that Joe Biden orchestrated to have SEAL Team 6, the Navy SEAL Team 6, killed to cover up the fake death of bin Laden. Now, why would you send a lie like that to your followers? You retweeted
That was a retweet. That was an opinion of somebody, and that was a retweet. I'll put it out there. People can decide for themselves.
You're
I don't
the
take a
president.
position.
You're not like someone's crazy uncle who can just retweet whatever.
That was a retweet.
I have to be honest. It was bizarre. Why are you doing that? People started tweeting that stuff to me before he even retweeted it. And it just, I was like, what? And then I found out he did it. And I've had O'Neill, the guy who shot bin Laden, on my show several times, Jim. And he came out after the president. Some of this stuff is a little conspiratory to the point where it's almost lunacy. And it did feel a little crazy uncle-ish.
Yeah, and here's the thing. There are areas where you can defend the president's record. There are areas where you can defend the president's decision-making. His critics can often paint him as Beelzebub, and no, he's not that. But there are times where the president doesn't just step in it. He doesn't just make an error. He uses terrible, terrible judgment, and it's inexcusable and inexplicable, and it cannot be justified by any light. And this is a good, crystal clear example of this. And it doesn't take, you don't have to be a great detective to figure out what's going on here. Trump scans his Twitter feed, looks for anything that's critical of Biden, and then retweets it. And he doesn't care if it's true or not. Now, most rational human beings in a situation like that, upon being confronted with the fact that they had retweeted something with a conspiracy theory that Biden had killed all of SEAL Team 6, I guess with this secret Biden assassin, like the first thing is, SEAL Team 6, they're pretty good guys. They're pretty tough to kill, right? But apparently Biden's got some secret assassination squad that he can use to get them. That's been completely uncovered in the media. This all got slipped under the radar because bin Laden wasn't killed. Now, we've seen O'Neill come out. We've seen lots of people come out. This was kind of a big deal back in 2011 that, bin Laden was killed. And then Trump puts this out there. Clearly, Trump didn't read I think it's very unlikely Trump read the article. I don't think Trump believes that Osama bin Laden is secretly alive anywhere. I don't think Trump believes that SEAL Team 6 was all secretly killed by Biden. But I think Trump has no particular moral objection to putting this out there because it sounds good, because it makes Biden look bad. And he just doesn't. And most people, when confronted with that, would say, oh, I shouldn't have retweeted that. That was a dumb moment. I didn't read it clearly enough, and I was wrong. Trump can never say that. Trump can never say, I shouldn't have done that. So instead, he's got to say, it's one person's opinion. Yes, but it's a crazy opinion. And you, as president of the United States, have a responsibility. You have to do better. You have to do more than this. And the president, for the better part of 4 years, has largely refused. He doesn't believe he has any particular obligation to see if what he's saying is true. He doesn't feel he has any particular responsibility to tell the truth. And so it's not even about this doesn't even relate to his policy. I think there are people who hate Joe Biden who would say, well, no, he didn't kill. Like it's so crazy. You might as well throw in aliens when you're making those kind of conspiracy theories. So deeply frustrating.
I find aliens more believable than
good point.
Biden had SEAL
aliens
Team
could be there.
Six. Yeah. That's the thing. And he never can say, oops, I made a mistake. Sorry about that. He just scans through, finds something, sends it out. Next thing you know, and then he stands by it. And people, that last night, I want people to decide for themselves. Everybody's decided for themselves. He didn't do it.
Yeah. Does he think this is a giant open question? That we still haven't gotten to the bottom of?
Yeah, apparently he does. He does. We wouldn't be genuine in the Three Martini if we didn't talk about the third crazy, also from the town hall, but not from the debate between Savannah Guthrie and Trump, between the fireside chat with Joe Biden and George Stephanopoulos. And I'll say, out of the two, I thought that one was far more coherent, and it was actually about the people asking questions. But Joe answered some of those questions like, hey, why don't you, if you're going to shoot somebody and they're coming after you, maybe you can do this.
So instead of anybody coming at you, the first thing you do is shoot to kill. You shoot them in the leg. There's ways.
Shoot him in the leg. That's which, look, I bet if you ask people in the moment that it's happening and you had the wherewithal to do it, they would probably try to do something like that. But in that split second, they're more worried about saving their life and other people than shooting them in the leg.
Yeah, my friend Cam Edwards said that this idiocy should disqualify Joe Biden from having anything to do with gun policy. I just characterize Biden's position as the "I saw it on Kojak once" doctrine. This most cops look. If you're, God forbid, in a life or death situation where somebody's shooting at you, if you're a cop, you're just trying to hit your target. I'm sure they're taught aim for center mass because you want to incapacitate the target. Or headshots. But again, we're not necessarily training, master trick shot, marksmen here. Their job is to stop the threat. And they're not going to spend a lot of time saying, by the way, if you shoot somebody and you hit the femoral artery, they're going to die. Keep that in mind. That can be every bit as deadly as shooting them in the heart. I believe that's how, the Redskins' great safety, Sean Taylor, was in an altercation in his house with a burglar and ended up dying because his femoral artery was cut. That's the state of things. We probably also remember Joe Biden's advice that, buy a shotgun, and if you think you hear a prowler outside, just stick the gun out the door and shoot. And Joe Biden likes to blurt out things where he doesn't know what he's talking about. And it took his answer. I think anybody who's familiar with, the types of responsibilities cops have saw that and recognized, okay, he's getting his idea of what they should do from probably 1970s, 1980s cop dramas where they could make those kinds of shots and stuff like that. So a spectacularly unrealistic answer. And it's the sort of thing where it would have been nice to see some pushback from George Stephanopoulos or anybody else. But of course we didn't get that, I guess Biden 2020, shoot them in the legs is kind of the new slogan now.
That is just the whole thought process. So I see cops every single day. They come in and out of the studio here because they have shows on the weekends and they tape them early and they've all said the same thing. Yeah, that would be great. And we'd love to figure out ways of going about doing something like that. But at the end of the day, you aim big, you hit big, you aim small, you miss small. And that's kind of their, how they're trained because you're in the moment. But you're saying the right things is what it's all about as a politician, not whether or not those things are real. It has been a fun week, Jim. Thanks for letting me hang out with you. And I look forward to doing it again. I'm Chad Benson. Follow me at Chad Benson Shows, 3 Martini Lunch. Jim, where they follow you at?
At Jim Geraghty and at National Review, contributing to The Corner, the Morning Jolt newsletter, and articles here and there.
I follow those all, by the way. I appreciate you out there, Jim. You're doing yeoman's work, my man.
Always enjoy having you on, Chad.
Thank you. That's been the 3 Martini Lunch. Go enjoy your weekend, everybody, because it's just crazy.